you set it up, it starts and then it zooms in.
Yeah,
so you set it up and you've got everything in the right place. I'm not complaining. It's fine. It's fine. Hello, Facebook Live. None of you are here. That's fine. It's all fine. It's very pleasant.
Yes.
February.
Sometimes when you need a deeper bandwidth, if you like play music on your phone, or if we hit the record button, because it's already.
Lou here with CapmLew.
Hi.
And we fired it up because we're having connectivity issues, and we thought, what better way to address them than to load more bandwidth into the mix?
Yes.
For what it's worth, here we are.
Yes.
And it's gorgeous in
So
Cincinnati today. It was 70 yesterday, rainy.
Yes.
Bands of rain coming through.
Yes.
And today it was gray. Broke into some sunshine at the end of the day.
Indeed.
About 50 to 55 degrees.
Yeah, it wasn't that bad.
Gorgeous. Come on, it's February.
Yes.
I think today is the last day of February.
It is, because of half past September and stuff, yeah.
There we are. So we've got the best February possible. Not uncommon for Cincinnati to have a really beautiful winter with mixed spring weather.
Yes.
Winter weather.
Yes.
And I don't know, rain.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm down to clown for all of that. Love it. What's up, Johnny Manak?
Hi, Johnny.
It's good to see Vernon Stanley and Sam Cook in here. It's nice anytime you guys join us, but we really don't mean to tax your day with the demands of a live video. We know that we need to produce a video product because we're serious podcasters. We do take it very seriously, and we're more than willing. We aspire to invest full-time attention to podcasting.
Yeah.
But we can only do that if we are met with certain degrees of success.
Yes.
Maybe now it would behoove us to thank some of the folks who have helped us to get this far. We have just reached a financial threshold by which we can open a bank account.
Indeed. And
begin the process of incorporating a business in the podcast and all of the hoo-ha.
Yeah.
So we are hoo-ha positive today. And
hoo-ha positive.
Yeah, I'm happy. As long as we don't have any woo.
Yes. Right. The woo.
We don't do woo. There's plenty of hoo-ha.
Right, and I mean that the way Mike Winger means that.
That's right. So, gorgeous weather, beautiful day.
Yes.
I enjoyed today's podcast is brought to you by Solution Roofing. Yeah. Solution Roofing is my day job, but it's also our family business. And I love my work with Solution because I get to speak Spanish on the roofing site every job. And I think it makes a difference.
I think so too.
And as far as I hear from the crews, it makes a difference for them too.
Yeah. To
be able to use, I don't know, sentences.
Right.
And to be able to call their project manager on the phone and say to him, you know, like, da-da-da-da-da-da-da, drip edge, da-da-da. So thanks to Solution Roofing for being part of my family and my life. And my son Aaron's been a skater since he was a little kid. And he is a hoss.
Truly
him.
A hoss.
Frontside airs.
When you talk to the guys in Spanish, do they have to slow down for you to understand them well? Or are you good enough? You're pretty freaking good.
They understand me, what I'm trying to say, fine.
Okay.
I speak college Spanish, so I form like a full sentence. I don't use like
slang
or word packets. I don't know slang or word packets or you know, things like that. So when they speak to me, like today, a guy was saying to me, "Oh, I like your hat," because I wear a Solution Roofing hat on the job, and he said, "Oh, you know," he said something, your hat, something, and I told him, we try to keep it professional. You know, like I wear a Solution Roofing shirt, I wear a Solution Roofing hoodie and coat and hat, and it's nice. It's really nice that it's the family business. And Cincinnati, Kentucky, I think we even hit into Indiana. I'm not sure.
I would imagine you guys would.
That's not my department. My department in the roofing company is that I go on the site, I make sure that the order is right, and anything that the crew needs, I go get for them.
Yeah.
And it's nice because they can tell me in Spanish. I don't have to ask them to slow down, but just once every now and then.
Sure.
But Hopeton Mitchell is on here. Good to see you, Hopeton. And it's really nice to have people commenting during our time together.
It really is.
Because we like interaction. We really do. And we don't get a whole lot. We're not getting slews of comments on the things that we're doing. And for that, I'm kind of grateful.
Yeah.
Very grateful for the folks who've encouraged us and who've supported the podcast. We're also brought to you by Life Skateboards. Life Skateboards, pressed and made by hands that live right across the border in Indiana, about 2 hours.
2 hours.
2 hours from us.
Yeah.
Pressed in Knightstown, Indiana, and then brought over to Muncie to the finishing shop.
Is that how that works?
Well, until they finish moving over to Knightstown, that's the way that it works.
Okay, I did not know.
Yeah, over in Life Skateboards has been in a transition from the Muncie workshop to the Knightstown workshop.
Yeah.
For I think a year,
6 months,
maybe 6 months.
I don't know.
I don't either. But Casper Jones and Sam Cook,
yeah,
are killing it at making really, really good skateboard decks.
Yeah.
They have multiple concaves going on. Sam has done a great job at getting concaves that I like to skate.
Yeah.
And Casper does a great job on cutting and finishing and pressing, and we're just seeing a lot of bomber decks come out.
Yeah.
I don't think it can be beat. I really don't.
Yeah.
I appreciate that there is some form of debate happening about whether boards pressed fresh by people who actually ride and care,
right,
but whether they are superior to the far-flung blah blah blah. But in one of our previous times together, the interaction around that was pretty clarifying, thanks to Bud Stratford, another person that we're grateful to. Bud Stratford told us to go grab, he's sponsored us to go grab a meal.
Yeah.
And we are very grateful for that. We'll grab a meal right after we go to the bank and open a business account.
Yes.
And we'll snag an EIN off of the Ohio State Department of Commerce or whatever it is.
Secretary of State.
Secretary
perhaps.
of State,
Yeah.
right. And then we'll go out and celebrate with a nice meal.
Yes.
I am thinking steak.
Ooh.
But that might strip past the budget.
Listen, a nice brunch with steak?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, dude. Brunch is the best meal ever created.
Agree.
Yeah, agreed. And
especially if you
eggs.
if you get to sleep in.
Dude.
I like sleeping in pretty well.
Me too.
Yeah, I'm not against it.
Me too.
I'm looking for my lens cloth. Get this little chamois going for the lens. This is I'm just, there you go.
Oh wow, it's like
I
way
know,
down.
I'm saying
That's hilarious.
It's all smudgy. You'll have that.
You really will have that.
Yes, you will. Well, let's dive into something that might be interesting to someone. Luke and I had a text discussion today about the dwindling of Enjoi.
Yes.
There I am.
You did it. That's funny.
It's not. Some people care about things like Enjoi skateboards and dwindle distribution.
Yes.
I don't. Do I? Nope. It's just not in there. But not caring about it doesn't mean that I don't care. I care that people care about it.
Yeah, I feel similar.
Okay.
Sure.
So I'm sort of meta concerned.
Yeah, right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's a meta
I'm not
concern.
concerned about it personally, but I am concerned over the concern of other people. And I'm always interested in extracting from our skateboarding life the larger lessons of life and God and wisdom and the value of knowledge and understanding. I'm interested in extracting from some of the common human themes that exist in skateboarding. So What I read was a Gen Chem article.
A Gen Chem article.
Gen
yes.
Chem.
I forgot that it was you pronounce that way. Yes.
I was it was an interview with Louie Barletta.
Yeah.
And I also caught some maybe YouTube stuff about it.
It was a Tik-Tok that you sent me. Did you watch the YouTube that the Tik-Toker put in his bio? It's only like 2 minutes. I just perused it for a minute.
Now, someday, dear listeners, we will have the ability to play these things and do that, but
it is not this day.
Well, and the second iPad has a battery life of about 25 seconds. I am impressed with its battery life.
Yes.
And by that I mean that the shortness of its battery life has left an impression upon me.
Yes.
That impression is mainly that is a useless piece of
tool. Right.
There's a reason that thing was just sitting there.
Yeah.
Yeah. I had a lot of Apple products with bad battery life because I always pick them up used.
I know, me too. I've figured out how to change all my phone batteries. You got to be really careful because you can break them, but I've done it 100 times now.
Yeah, your phone, my phone, the iPad that we use for video, and that iPad were all used before they came to me.
I thought the iPad was new.
Which one?
The one that we're using.
No, it belonged to Aaron.
Oh.
Before it belonged to me.
Nice.
And so did that phone.
Yeah.
Oh.
This one was new.
This one was new. I bought it.
Yeah.
I got it really cheap.
Yeah.
I got it really cheap. I got it for like $450 and I just paid cash on it.
Oh, that's sick. That's the only way I'll get phones, dude. Pay cash, bro.
Yeah, but I mean, it's no longer an option for me. And I still need to take my new big phone, iPhone 12 or whatever. Still have to take it over to a place because I took it to a place to repair the cracked camera lens.
I thought it was fixed.
Yeah, they fixed it, but they trapped a bunch of dirt.
No, did they really?
They did not
Dude.
clean out the inside.
Yeah, of
so
course
I don't know what the condition of that condition will be.
Yes,
so
sure.
Right now I have to either put it on fisheye, which is great.
Yeah.
That one works wonderfully, or I have to zoom past until it switches to the zoom lens.
That is hilarious, dude.
I don't mind. I'm okay with it.
And it was only $15. You're like, oh, I got a deal.
It was. The guy charged me $10 because it's the phone repair is in the vape store that I go to.
Hell yeah, dude.
A bunch of people were talking about how shameful and stupid vaping is recently.
Hold on, let me hit my vape while I talk about this.
Yeah, I just don't think so. That seems awfully silly to me.
Indeed.
So, Louie Barletta left Enjoi because of this. What went on with that? What's the deal, Luke?
I think that what had happened is that Dwindle, which owned Enjoi, got bought out by a bigger corporation. At this point, I can't remember what the name is. Do you remember? Do you recall what the name is? It's the same company that owns like Darkstar and all the Walmart boards.
Well, Darkstar is a Dwindle brand.
Oh, yeah, but you can find that stuff like in Walmart. They have like a bunch of, and they sell like camping gear and like so like Sportsplex or I don't know what it's called.
The reason I don't remember the name of this is because I don't see this as a specific company. This is exactly what always happens.
Yeah.
And what it is there are companies that exist and profit simply by buying and selling companies.
Right.
And so they'll come into a skateboard distribution like Dwindle.
Indeed.
And they'll say, okay, what can we do to blow up the value of this and then sell it again?
Yes.
So they buy it for $10 million. They want to sell it for $120 million.
Yeah. And
what they'll do is they'll buy up a skateboard distribution.
Yeah.
And then they will open Walmart accounts.
Yeah, right.
And then the boards are in Walmart.
Right.
And it brings a whole lot of money.
Yes.
Like so much money into the...
That's the link to the Gen Chem article that we were reading, which has all the info in it. It's Bravo Sports. That's the
so
company.
There's one called La Jolla Group, and they bought Alien Workshop, and most of the skateboard folks who spend their time appropriately not paying attention to big American business and not wondering about economics and how all that works.
Right.
Which, I mean, you know, little golf clap for you guys, because paying attention to that sort of thing is an awfully adulty thing to do.
It is.
However,
yes,
some of us are of age.
Yes.
And it could possibly behoove
us.
It could be behooved.
Yes.
Unbehoovable. So.
My gosh, dog. You gotta stop.
I can't.
I can't.
Can't stop.
Won't
shan't
stop.
stop.
Shan't stop.
Can't stop. Shan't stop.
Yeah.
So
they were.
But they get bought
ahead.
by these companies, and then the companies pump and dump.
Yeah.
And that's what's going to happen every time you sell to the companies like this.
Yeah.
And the way they get bought by these companies is they expand past the, kids and big kids. This is a tale as old as time.
Yes. Right.
Yeah.
Yes.
Except it's just Beast and the Beast.
Yeah, it's just Beast and the Beast. Yeah, dude, seriously.
Does everybody understand what goes on? Because here's what goes on is... A skateboard brand in the beginning is, we're going back to the 90s here, is a guy with an idea and an artist. And they find someone to make their boards. Vastly common is that they just find someone to make their boards with. Rocco, it was Prime Woodworking. And Prime Woodworking was pure garbage. Pure garbage.
Just unadulterated
boards,
garbage.
Absolute garbage. And nowadays, Prime is, I get this snake in the grass vibe from Prime, because I don't know whether they're gonna charge me a premium for their Prime LA, which is made in LA.
Of course.
I mean, if you guys want to fly me out there and show me everything, don't bother, because I don't want to go.
Yeah.
I don't want to step in human poo on your city streets, and then only to have you guys give me a sales shtick that you're not going to follow through on anyway. I'm so tired of California business.
Yeah.
But Prime, then they have their global partners, and that's probably where even their Prime LA stuff comes from sometimes. Fluffing with non-domestic wood, but still selling it as domestic is a tale as old as time.
Yes, dude.
It just is. Nobody cares is what they think.
Right.
But what does someone who does their business by the motto "nobody cares" do when people start to care?
Yeah. Probably gaslight.
They gaslight. They say, "Oh, you're not a real skateboarder if you care about that." I got 2008, 9. I got such an earful of that from. Like, why are these boards a quarter inch off? Why? Just break it down to me.
Yeah.
Like, anyway, I'm rubbing my eyes, which is a sign of that I'm going into some sort of
catatonic
dissociative break, because I just don't have a lot of faith that if I explain this, that you'll understand it.
Right.
And it's not because I think you're dumb or anything like that.
Right.
I mean, some of you.
Step one.
I don't.
Insult your audience.
I don't. I don't think our audience is dumb, but this stuff is nuanced and difficult to grab hold of.
It is. Yes.
Talk about that.
It is, dude. No, it is. Well, there's like literally layer upon layer upon layer, because Dwindle hasn't owned itself in forever. They were.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure. So I think Globe owned Dwindle for a while. For like 15 years or something, and
everyone was mad about that.
Yeah,
because Globe was a shoe corporation.
It was, but what's interesting is Louie was saying that he went to Australia to skate or to meet the guys who own Globe, and he got there and like the president of the company or something came out. They had like an indoor mini ramp, and the guy came out like all sweaty. He was like, "Oh,
that's
dude,
in the article." Yeah,
I didn't know that you were coming. If I had, I would have waited. I always skate during my lunch break. So is it a little bit more like core, or you know what I mean? A little bit more closer to the ground.
Authentically passionate about skateboarding.
Yeah, right.
By the way, quick note: Tommy Story has just put a comment that says, "I'm definitely dumb."
Yes.
Tommy Story is aside from you, dear Luke,
Yeah.
he is my favorite
Yes.
road dog.
Aw.
That guy
Yeah, he's sick.
we have traveled so much, so many times together.
Yes.
Roommates on Tampa Bro trips.
Oh, heck yeah.
And Tommy is just a warrior of the roads.
Tommy's like my favorite skater, dude.
And Tommy's story's life story. We would make changes in this room to get Tommy's story in here. I think
that would be a great idea.
Tommy, you are invited on the podcast. We're begging you.
Yeah, please.
But that one's not going to be PG.
Yeah, no, I can't wait, dude. I can't wait to just thrive in it. Yes.
I tell you, Tommy, come on over and roll around in it with us. But I don't think that our audience is dumb. You're not dumb.
I'm trying not to be.
And tell them about the Christmas that hit today.
Oh, dude, yeah. So I sent Lou the article, and it's funny because you had sent me the TikTok about Louie leaving, and I sent you the article like right after. I hadn't even watched the TikTok, so we were both brains were in the same space, and
like
Lou
we were
was,
trading messages
literally
at the same
in time.
moment.
Yeah, it was pretty cool.
Yeah.
So you were discussing the fact. Well, first of all, Louie was discussing the fact that the thing that changed is when Bravo Sports bought Dwindle. The environment, the economics of
Absolutely
their brand just
stupid,
got,
blind, don't
Yeah.
understand how skateboarding
works.
grows, how it grows, how it does business.
Yes.
Because there are still on the table millions of dollars to be made in skateboarding if folks would do it right. And one of the prime examples of that is George Powell.
Yeah, right. And Bravo Sports was not doing it like that. They were doing a very classic corporate model. Well, they'll take a month.
By the way, George Powell, not a skater.
Hilarious, dude.
An engineer.
Hilarious.
He's a product engineer,
Yes.
not a core skater.
Yes.
I mean, he can ride a skateboard, but that's not George's thing.
It's
so
funny,
there
dude.
you have it.
Yeah, right.
But George has understood better than many, and I think it's because he had the opportunity of starting with Stacy Peralta.
Yes.
And they did separate, as that last episode we talked about shitting and puking and Stacy Peralta.
30 minutes of the waffle stuff.
Stacy Peralta was actually saying that he and George didn't see eye to eye about several things, and that's where I think that Stacy had more of an understanding of how to skateboarding market is developed very effectively at the grassroots level.
Absolutely.
Because you kind of have to see it happen. You need to have people representing it and showing it to you that will inspire several things before you even get to the sale.
Yes.
And
right.
And most brands skip the most important things. We'll talk about that later, but tell them about that, that text thing.
So Louie was saying that whatever sports, whatever the big company that bought them out.
Bronco Sports
essentially like took their month of November, which ended up being a really amazing month for them.
Yeah, because they had Black Friday.
Oh yeah.
Then they had
Cyber Monday.
Right. And whatever, they had a pre-Black Friday.
Yeah.
And then a Black Friday and a Cyber Monday. So it was huge November.
Yeah, right. So they had a huge sales spike, and they expected
the exact
Enjoi,
same sale metric
and more the next month.
Right.
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 And that's not the way that this works.
That's not even the way that
like
regular
normal.
product.
I know.
Yeah,
I know.
If you were just marketing like, I don't know, tactical stuff or whatever.
Right.
November's gonna be a huge month. And December has got Christmas.
Right. So it should
be ain't November, man.
Right. Yeah, it's not Black Friday where everybody gets everything. So that because they didn't hit a certain sales metric, they ended up firing a team manager because they said that he wasn't needed.
And he was the team manager who had just pulled off a tour in like October.
Yeah.
They had just come off a tour, and this team manager had done, talk about work.
Yeah.
He was the absolute glue, and the reason why that tour was so successful.
Right.
And why they got those sales and they had the gravitas in the minds of skateboarders to even get there. And without a team manager, the whole advertising arm is just lopped off.
Yeah, it's like crippled totally.
And so when you get these holding companies, I'll call them holding companies. They're not, but for lack of a better word, when you get these these corporations that just buy and sell companies,
Yes.
you get these terrible, inorganic decisions.
Right.
You know, if it was just widgets like auto parts or like that, you buy auto parts for your car and the quality is so bad, you may as well buy 3 of them and hope you got lucky that someone was on the Chinese production floor that just for a second they accidentally gave a crap.
Yeah, right. They cared for like 5 minutes.
Yeah, and with if it was just widgets, that you need a new thermostat for your stupid, motor, so you're gonna buy a thermostat. So usually the cheapest one wins.
Right.
RockAuto.com.
Yeah, come on.
You don't have to have a team to advertise a thermostat.
Right.
Nobody's buying TV time or making YouTube channels for an automotive thermostat company.
Right.
That's the kind of thinking these guys are bringing to something that really requires a soulful, cultural, community, inspirational, authenticity based.
Right.
Like it has to have all this stuff.
Right.
And there are different emphases within that.
Yeah.
I mean, I once proposed to a business rival who had a big personal beef against me.
Right.
I said, man, we should drop all this beef.
Yeah.
You can market to the cool guys, and you can cap on me.
Right.
And I'll market to the kooks.
Yeah.
We'll join forces.
Right.
And between you and your cool guy brand and me and my kook brand,
right,
there won't be another company in the whole tri-state besides yours and mine, and yours will probably be bigger because there's more people that feel bad enough about themselves to believe your BS than there are people who want to feel good about themselves.
Yeah, that's right.
to believe my BS.
Right, and you can capture the entire market that way.
That way, competitors can capture the entire market. This is what skateboarding can do.
Yes.
Right.
Right.
But not if they're firing a team manager on the heels of a very high labor success.
Right, and that's essentially they were looking at it. It sounded like they were looking at it just by the money and saying, okay, well, we didn't hit the sales market or the margin, so we have to just cut something. So they cut the guy.
And Louie was trying to keep him out of Walmart the whole time.
Yeah, exactly.
And I think that they were just snipping away around Louie.
Yes.
So that he would quit. This is what I have experience with some of this stuff. I think they were snipping around Louie. They knew that if they cut the culture around Louie, that he would leave and they could do their Walmart thing. Yeah. And Louie could go off and do some low to the ground, relatively low profit. These people are looking for ROI. Yep. Back to the text.
Yeah, it's return on investment. So we both read the article and he was saying, oh man, this is so stupid because, and it's beyond skateboarding. It's all of our corporate culture, which is all based on like ever increasing growth on paper. You know what I mean? Like every month we want to see a 0.5% increase, like into eternity.
Well, when you have shareholders in a public company,
right?
Okay, when a company, and that's what's happening is the skateboard brands and distros went from being private companies to being bought by public companies,
right?
That's what the skaters call a corporation.
Right. Yeah.
Right. Well, actually, the skaters call things corporations that really aren't corporations. Like they called there was a chain of mall stores that was family owned, and were kind of killing it.
Yeah.
They were a lot friendlier than the core stores.
Right.
They had 5 locations.
Right.
And there were 2 of these. One was Bad Boards and one was Cosmic, and they were in the area. Right. And they were intro level kid at the mall stores. Yeah. Where you get earrings and T-shirts and all sorts of silly stuff.
Yeah, yeah.
They had a really good selection of skateboards.
Yeah.
And the one Cosmic had a team.
Right.
And promoted skateboarding, and they were doing work.
Yeah.
And
that was corporate.
They were called corporate because they were taking on the overhead of the mall. Yeah. And they were meeting that financial need by promoting and making more skateboarders and trying to make skateboarding more accessible, more fun. They had grill and chills. But that's not corporate. Corporate is when real corporate culture is what happened to Louie Barletta.
Yes.
Is when a publicly traded holding company comes in, cashes the company into their fold, and they take the company. Now they have to answer to investors.
Yeah.
But investors only get paid what are called dividends. Now,
Yeah,
here's where I'm not an economist, and I'm proud of it.
Yeah.
But my little like crawdaddy at the bottom of the food chain concept of this, as I've been just picking up whatever comes down the river, is that these investors really only get paid if there is an increase in financial growth.
Yes.
Okay, so everything has to always keep growing in order for those people to be paid. So there's a tremendous amount of pressure in this system for the bottom line to increase every year. That's why when they say like the economy is shrinking, what they're talking about is the rate of growth is shrinking. You've got companies that are really very profitable. They turn millions or even billions of dollars of profit, but they're down.
Yes.
And it's not because they didn't make money. It's because they didn't make even more money than they did before. And I'm making this hamster wheel kind of a thing. And that's what publicly traded companies do. They run this hamster wheel and try to give ROI, return on investment, to their investors so that they can purchase more companies, inflate their value, and sell them off. And so there's this feeding frenzy of just piranhas, and they're just gobbling up everything and then pooping it out, and then the poop eating fish
eat the poop,
eat that, then they poop that out, and then little crayfish like me at the bottom. Anyway,
delicious.
So I don't know, sometimes I help people get off drugs, which is really what corporate America does to people. It breaks people in this mix, and you get these vignettes, you get these little tiny glimpses of what it does to people. It's not what you think it is. If it was just, hey, I want to make a company, right? We're gonna make a thing, and we're gonna make it, So we make the thing, we sell the thing. So we make it for price A and we sell it for price B, and then we take the profit we get off of that, right? Making it for price A includes what it takes to make it. So you sell it at price A, make it at price A, sell it at price B. Customer is happy because they've got it. That's that's one step, two step. It's just really simple. But all of these skateboard companies are like, first, we're going to be owned by a publicly traded, giant gobbler fish. And then they're going to order all of our product from a far-flung set of batch brokered factories. So none of that stuff, no matter what the heat sticker might look like, you like your toilet kid. I honestly really loved the Toy Machine Turtle Boy graphics.
Turtle Boy.
Aaron's first skateboard was Turtle Boy with his arm down the toilet. I said, "Hey, Turtle Boy, what are you doing?" He says, "I'm burgling turds."
Oh my gosh, dude, turd burglar.
Is that
so
a terrible
sick.
reference of some sort?
I hope not.
I hope not too, because I thought it was
in
awesome.
my heart, it's not. It probably is.
I bought it for my like 7-year-old son. I loved it.
Yes,
I do. I love turtles, and I thought it was so funny.
Yes.
And but whatever heat sticker is on that thing only distinguishes it from all that other pre-chewed baby food business that's going on by whether there was a character like a Louie Barletta, or a Jerry Sue. These are the Enjoi, guy, or a Mark Johnson, and or Jason Adams. He rode for Enjoi, and he was a Black Label rider, or a John Lucero, or Jeff Grosso. I mean, those are the reasons why we were buying these things. And now it's time for a change.
Yeah, that'd be nice.
I think that we've realized that all of our heroes aren't. We've come to realize that like they were shilling for Chinese made garbage based on, look what I can do, I'm skate better than you, buy my board. It's a strange argument. It worked for a long time. But we're aging out of that stuff.
The bottom's falling out.
We also, most of us weigh 250 pounds, and We really,
Yeah.
we might not be able to ollie, but we sure would like when we try if our boards didn't break.
Snap. Yeah, right. Just snap.
You know?
Yeah, right.
And so outfits like Life or Johnny Manax skates,
Right.
or, you know, any number of these outfits, really it's time for them to grow.
Absolutely. Yeah.
It is.
They represent the best of it.
They represent the best of the product.
Yeah.
The make it at price A, sell it at price B, relationship directly to the customer.
Right.
And the skate shops have not succeeded in being part of that. So the skate shops could have gotten in there
Yeah.
and gotten a cut. You know, that's a
Right.
so you go from a 2-step to a 3-step.
Right.
Make it at price A, sell it at price B to the skate shop, and they sell it at price C
Right.
to the customer. You want to do more economics in skateboarding? Here's the one. Have it made at price A,
Right.
right? And then have it shipped from there to a distribution
Yeah.
at price B.
Right.
The distro
Yeah.
sells it to the retailers,
Yeah.
hundreds of retailers at price C,
Right.
and then the end user buys it at price D. That
Right.
is how most of it is done.
Right.
But actually, that is a 4-step.
Yeah, I think so.
There are even 7-step versions of this that have
Yeah.
been typical in skateboarding. It's called
Absolutely.
a fulfillment process.
Yeah.
And skateboarding has had up to 7 steps in its fulfillment.
Right.
What was it? 2008. 2008. I decided to get involved. Have them made at price A.
Yeah.
Sell them to skate shops at price B was my first move.
Right.
Made in America, right? And since I'm so close to where they were made, I was driving and picking up, and I thought that would ensure an accountability and an ability to be hands-on, and we could use that to create a better relationship. Thing is that setup was putting out 40,000 boards a month.
Yeah.
And they couldn't ensure quality.
Yeah.
They couldn't.
Right.
And so that was frustrating, but I was already simultaneously planning on pressing. So in 2010,
Right.
I built my first press. Now it was a 2-step. I said,
Yes.
I'm going to take this production and I'm going to make them myself, and then I'm going to sell them at price B
Yeah.
and have that relationship.
Right.
And what you get when you defy the order, the
Right.
first thing that happened was shops wouldn't buy from me.
Of course.
In vulnerable moments, shop workers told me that they had been instructed not to allow my product to sell.
Right.
Another shop intimated to me that they knew that if they carried my boards, that they would have a war on their hands, because there were shops that you see, the shops
Yeah.
were also brands.
Yes.
They broke the cardinal rule of retail, which
Yeah.
is that you buy wholesale stuff
Yeah.
and you sell it. You're
Right.
a pass-through and
Yeah.
you get a cut.
Right.
But instead, because it was as easy as a phone call and an email,
Right.
they decided they were board brands too. And so every board that from something like me that sold, they lost a piece of. Well, they couldn't shut down Deluxe and they couldn't shut down Dwindle. They
Yeah.
couldn't shut them down, but they sure as heck could shut down sales at their shop without anyone noticing if they cut a guy like me out or a guy like Christian Svitak,
Right.
you know.
Right.
And so it was heartbreaking, but I decided to go direct. So I put up an online store and began selling direct. And I found something so good because now I cut the shop out of the thing, and I was A to B, and my profit margins were super high.
Right.
No corporate,
Yeah.
no nothing, just good, dignified craft work
Right.
and good accountability and good relationship with customers. I mean, in the 12 years that I was making boards, I had 3 customers that I couldn't please. And one of them was I failed.
Sure.
He said, forget about it, man. You know, it was at the very end.
Yeah.
I was completely burned out. It had been a long time. And he said, forget about it, man. Just give it to a kid. Let the universe have it. That's
Yeah.
what his attitude was.
Sure.
And I was reaching out to him saying, hey, I definitely want to make this right. I want to take care of you.
Yeah.
And that that's not as bad a failure. I mean, to me, that's bitter.
Yeah.
But that's still me trying.
Absolutely. Right. Yeah. Right.
And so, oofta.
It's, dude.
So when you get these corporate holding companies that are under the pressure of ROI,
Yes, return on
and they
investment.
come and they buy something like Dwindle, which already had been bought and sold a couple times by then.
Right.
And Dwindle was already in Walmart.
Yeah.
And they want to put that Enjoi Panda brand up in Walmart and just cash money vagrants. They just wanted to get that to blow up, and then they're going to sell Dwindle. They're going to sell it again.
Oh, for sure.
What's going to happen. They just,
pump and dump.
They're just pump and dump.
Yeah.
And so Louie Barletta, God bless him, is trying to make sense of all this. You can see it in this. He's trying to make sense of it all.
Yeah.
But that was on the wall in the beginning. Reminds me of the series on Peacock that I'm watching, Yellowstone. It's like Montana is going.
Yeah.
There is no future. And there's nothing you can do about it. And it's awful.
Yeah.
Now, I still think that what I did about it is the right thing to do about it. But somebody needs to charge out ahead and say, it's time for us to start to invest in quality and enjoy really good skateboards from people who really care what we think.
Yeah.
Who actually know us.
Absolutely.
I guarantee you there is no shame, not a pang of shame in a lot of these guys that are at Louie Barletta's level.
Yeah.
They are absolutely unconcerned with quality. They may have some sort of an idea that they're using the premium thing because their factory tells them that they use a special glue, Resin 7 or Impact discs, which don't get me started about fiber discs cut out from one of the plies.
Right.
That is a tale as old as time. That's just salescraft.
Yeah, we're done, dude. I wonder if I can read our text conversation or this part of it, because I think you articulate it really well. You say, satisfaction guaranteed never existed because no brand had enough production control to survive that idea. And they were also heavily leveraged, man. Really unrealistic business planning. Same goes for all of these corpo gamers. They budget on growth and report to investors who don't make money on anything but growth. Anything that is just solidly profitable is failing. It is unbelievable. It translates to the entire economy. All those companies that are able to draw on unlimited debt in order to crush competition, nobody ought to have been allowed to have China do the work ever. It was always the dumbest, short-sightedest thing to do, and it cost us all so much. 1, the reality of earning and making a living. 2, economies of quality and inspiring authenticity. It is much humbler thing to make and brand than to just brand on trash. Less money and so many more enemies, but so much more real and could end up so much more durable. I respond, I'm really hearing that. I've never spent more than a cursory moment thinking about the idea of growth being the driving factor of our corporations. I've never looked into the economics of big corps, but I've heard things like grow or die or things like it. I have never made the connection that the idea is largely pushed by investors, shareholders who want ROI. That mixed with unlimited borrowing power really does create a bloated and largely hypothetical metric for profit and success. You say, think about this. Decades ago, decisions were made to schedule ROI as completely dependent on growth. All those stocks, those are all bets on growth, on increase, not profit, all of it. I reply, insane. We all know that unlimited growth is impossible. It has been a scam of greed. I respond, it's all smoke and mirrors. You respond, just one that takes about 100 years till it shows us all how bare the land can be stripped. And I say, I don't know why this is hitting so clear right now, but I'm really getting some clarity. We go on. But it was a fascinating, just that little tidbit really brought it into focus for me, the fact that all of the ideas of growth, the ideas of GDP, the ideas of how well a business is doing, can be influenced by so many different factors, and the kind of blurbs that we get are largely facades, like for real facades.
Well, that's because the entire machine
right
is based on betting
literally
on growth.
That's it.
betting
Yeah.
that there will be growth. So anything that's just stable, rock solid, that just makes, X number of millions of dollars a year.
Yeah.
They that's fine.
Right.
Except if it's a publicly traded company. If it just hits the black.
Right.
And is just solid.
Right.
Then the investors don't get anything.
Right. Yeah. And to them that's bad. So if you
that's when they come in, because it's a publicly held company.
Yeah.
They come in.
Right.
And they fire everyone.
Literally.
Because the boards then have the power, and they'll fire them, and they'll get a new CEO who they believe, and it's a salesman.
Yes.
First he sells himself to them.
Yes.
As the guy
yes.
who can get us into growth.
Yes.
All of it. Meanwhile, Joe Blow says what I said.
Yeah.
Which was, I can make $40,000 to $60,000 a year. My wife's job had benefits, and I had my workshop, and I could make $40,000 to $60,000 a year, working 7 to 9 hours a day in my own workshop, creating a brand of value in quality and value in inspiration and even education. Yeah. And the enemies that just come out of the woodwork. Yes. It was nuts. Right. It was absolutely nuts. Right. Because I was breaking the whole rule set. Yeah. The rule set in American business is not about solid business practices and ethics. Right. It's about growth and profit bets and greed. Right. See, it's not a greedy thing for a person to decide to labor and produce value and to be remunerated according to their labor and their value. That's not a greedy thing. That's you're giving and you're getting. Right. But it is a greedy thing for a person to say, I want to not labor. Yeah. So I'm going to leverage this whole situation. I'm going to buy at price A. Yep. I'm going to sell at price B, and then I'll own the distro. Yeah. I can sell it to my own distro, get a tax write-off, and then if I buy at price A and I own the price B, and it goes into that company, then I get all the price C's without, and then all of this can only happen though if you have hundreds of millions of dollars in order to buy up market share. Yeah. For example, owning magazines and running other magazines out of business, consolidating the market. Yeah. You consolidate the market, then you own, you don't have to own as many things to own a larger share. Right. And so this is that many things. Right. They don't want there to be more things. Turns out though, on the other end of all this, there is what they used to call the customer. Yeah. The customer is a community member. Yeah. And the community member is getting lower quality. Right. And they're getting less diversity of inspiration. Yeah. Think about what a radical thing it was that tired skateboards got even brought into the light at all. I know, that's insane. And they're not, it's, kind of like a sleeping giant. But, But, in fact, tired might be sucking the air out of the room because it's as corporate as anything else as far as I can see it. Well, dude, what's crazy is take what you're saying. Skateboards. Welcome, yeah. Take what you're saying and then think about the fact, like, skateboarding marketing has been so effective. That's all just been like Thrasher videos and hoodies and t-shirts and boards that are complete shit. All, by the way, they're all popsicle shaped because what you're saying is absolutely true. They're all made in the same factories. They're all made in the same place. Go ahead and do your 2-hour Bendigos Gifted Hater, and what you're learning is that these are all far-flung factories. They're batch brokered. It's not even made where you think it's made. Right. Who knows where? And what's ironic is they bought the tooling from us. Right. Moved it there. Right. Aped it best they could to expand it. Yeah. And they hoodwinked people like Rodney Mullen. Yeah. Rodney Mullen into going over there and actually thinking that he had something that really broke the mold and was really, really great. Right. They hoodwinked him. Right. Because running my own presses, I know that the Chop Chop Wood Shop is full of technical vulnerabilities that totally are going to compromise quality.
Right.
And they're still going to spend a month in a shipping container on the way back over.
Dude, yeah.
On and on it goes.
Right.
And don't even, all of this, and the reason I get like this about it is because you can hear this for a long time.
Yeah.
And most people just get tired of hearing it.
Yeah.
They don't want it to be so that this actually impacts the value of skateboarding and the diversity of skateboarding.
Right.
And as good as Instagram has been for skateboarding's stylistic expression, for the diversity of expression, and let me tell you, if Instagram hadn't happened, we'd still be stuck with Barrick's rules and some dried up 90s guy behind the counter telling us we're blowing it.
Yeah, right.
You know?
Right.
But now it's time for there to be market diversity. And for brands, listen, you can everyone in the industry historically has taken dumps on George Powell over things like I've met people in the industry and Powell will come up and immediately the person will say something to me that's tremendously inappropriate. They'll say, oh, that guy's personality is da-da-da-da-da-da. And I don't care about his personality.
Right.
I care about whether the boards are good. I'm a skateboarder.
Yeah, come on.
I don't need you to be my hero. I want the wood to be good. When I bought my first Shutt skateboard that was pressed in Maine by the Chapman brothers over there, those things were tanks. I loved them because they were tanks.
Right.
And the Shutt guys used to try and pretend they had a secret room that they pressed the boards in and you can't go in there. Yeah, that's because their secret room must have been a portal to Maine.
Yeah, right.
Liars and cheats to a man, these skateboard business people. Always pretending that they've got some secret thing.
Right.
Good glue, good wood, properly prepared, properly coated, put in the press, proper pressure, proper time, take it out, let it relax, see what the warp and woof are, throw a center line on that bad boy, throw a platen on top of it, cut that bad boy out, do some edge work, do some finish work, put on a coat, throw on a screen, put on some more coats, and let it cure and let it out the door to the person who ordered it. Never existed in my world. No. Never did. Right. We did have an outfit that was near me. I bought some boards from them, and they talked about their press. I think they had a press, and then it wasn't long before I was in an industry scenario and found out that, just more of the same. More of the same embellishment and like that, which is why when I started pressing boards, I also started doing videos to show it so that people could really know that, you know, whatever they thought about the quality of the boards, at least there's a guy making them. Yeah. And I knew I wasn't the first to be doing it. Chris Gobert over in Arizona has been doing wonderful pressing up with lots of support too. He's very connected. Very cool. And he's also not an abrasive guy like me. Somehow this whole thing is considered to be very abrasive. Yeah. You're such an asshole. But I have a feeling like out in Arizona, maybe the industry moguls of that area don't push kids around. You know, don't bully, don't pick on people. I don't know. Yeah, maybe he lives in a very special place. Maybe in Arizona, they're close enough to the cowboy days that you knew you couldn't behave like that without getting your lights punched out.
Well, I think that if you had kissed more ass and not been as abrasive, I bet that Fickle would have probably survived and probably thrived. But it's like that's a bridge too far, my dude. You know what I mean? Like it's just a bridge too far. You can't watch a fat kid being made fun of and be like, hey, what if we didn't make fun of fat kids? You know, and then suddenly you're not a real skater and your boards are shit and you're getting threatened your life. You know what I mean?
Oh, yeah.
What's fucking crazy about all this, I'm like sitting here thinking like, you know, like the fact that the popsicle is like the only shape that you can get, the fact that they're all shit, that like everything is shit, right? And so we're all eating this huge shit sandwich. And if you have the wherewithal, you can spend about 5 years putting all the pieces together. And once the puzzle is complete, it's just a picture of Steve Rocco's face. You know what I mean? You know,
it's like, all our faces, just tiny ones of our faces that make Steve Rocco's face.
You know, like, and that's why I'm saying their marketing was actually, from a business perspective, extremely effective, especially because skateboarders are so, they're so. What's the word? They're really pushed by like the way that something feels, or like, you know, we all love Louie Barletta, and I love Louie. And so because he rides for Enjoi and kind of runs Enjoi, that I want an Enjoi board, and it's all kind of based on this ethereal.
That's not a bad thing.
No, it's
That's not a bad thing.
It makes it easier for a holding company to come in and just play on people's heartstrings,
Yes.
and suddenly you're just buying like PAL reissues for $120. You know what I mean? Like, it's all just garbage, trash bullshit.
I have a feeling that's a bad example. I like to stick up for George Powell because his
or
work,
whatever, SMA or whatever
right,
it is,
right,
you know, like whatever it is.
World Industries is a great example
Exactly.
of it.
I don't collect the cards.
You
so I
know,
don't know.
here's something that went wrong with skateboarding that people didn't have the wherewithal to identify.
Right.
Steve Rocco came out of the gate and he went after the non-skater business people that ran skateboarding, and and they weren't at the time necessarily running it super well. Okay, sure. There were grievances among the skateboarders, and it was easy for Steve to capitalize on both the immaturity of the skateboarding public,
right,
and some of the valid issues with, here's people who are skating, they're putting their cartilage on the line,
yeah.
and when they get hurt, they're just cut.
Right.
And that's happening with the NFL now, too. It took a lot longer for it to come around the mountain for the NFL.
Brutal.
But all Rocco had to do was little defamation, but mostly just spicy takes.
Yeah.
His ads were spicy takes. But the other thing that people didn't notice was that Steve Rocco very, very publicly was able to illegally defame and bully his way through any of his peers that offered alternative takes on it.
Sure.
Simon Woodstock is a person who, in the history of skateboarding, really nobody pays any attention. He's written out of the story, but he spoofed Rocco in a profane and effective way.
Okay.
And Steve Rocco launched a lawsuit against him for defamation, which never would have won.
Right.
But he threatened to sue him for 40 grand or some number
sure.
that was just impossible for a skateboarder to come up with. So Simon's work had to completely stop, and he had to basically sign a thing that probably wasn't legal either, that said he would never do skateboard industry stuff. And obviously he spun off into whatever else he did with his life.
Right.
But everyone was fine with that. But what I think skateboarders don't understand is that if you have an alternative that is growing in your market, and they're poking at the big guys,
right?
You may not like them very much, or you may not agree with them,
right?
But your corporate loyalty is not a respectable family trait, and
that's so good. Yeah.
To have defamation and threats, Steve Rocco's crew was crazy, and they were connected.
Right.
They were connected in ways that were not mild. And I'm sure that a lot of stuff is on the cutting room floor that would fill in that, it's just dark, and there wasn't the journalism in place to go, hey, is this guy really a good guy? Is this really a good business model for skaters? Until really Bud Stratford was one of the best question askers in skateboarding. He didn't do it until the early 2000s.
Yeah.
He didn't start being at the table until the 2000s, even 2010, 2012.
Right.
So too little, too late.
Right. And those boys, that stuff probably started like 90
or
or maybe even
92.
Earlier. Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Right.
So you have the capture of a community in corporate garbage business culture.
Right.
And then they filter it out into the culture, and they enculturate you with advertisement, and you're a pawn.
That's straight up.
And I think some of our listeners have participated in brand loyalties that they probably at end of life won't be super proud of. Whatever.
Right.
But the thing is, there are new brand loyalties that are coming out. We're kind of like a little bit passionate and willing to suffer for the emergence of a new kind of skateboarding brand, which is the old kind of Tony Alva cutting decks in a garage in Santa Monica, you know, and I'm not sure that he did that though.
Well,
I'm not sure what the real story is behind Alva. I think it was mostly the paint.
Right. Here we are again. Right.
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 Not sure who was pressing. I have a feeling that Alva skates were probably pressed in Milwaukee as well, because the wood was the same as Santa Cruz. Man, you could feel it. And Santa Cruz was pressed in Milwaukee.
Right.
But you know, for years, you weren't a real skateboarder if you cared about things like deck quality.
Yeah.
And I'm not talking about nerding out over tiny dimensional things like that. That's the madness. I'm talking about choosing brands based on what they really offer to the community.
Right.
You know, Life Skateboards is very limited in what it can offer the community.
Right.
A good skateboard deck.
Right.
You know, the money is not there to buy a publication and print everything revolving around its own ad interests.
Right.
That's all of California.
Right.
You know, it's bought. Skate media is bought and sold. And Jenkem Mag out of New York definitely serves the ROI.
Yeah, come on, man.
And what holding company owns Jenkem? Because guarantee.
Oh yeah, right.
Tale as old as time.
Tale as old as time. I'm just sitting here and I'm thinking like the wool has been pulled over the eyes to such an extent that we actually believed that you were a cool skater if you broke your skateboard.
Yes.
Like, how dumb are we?
And we believe that on a shaped board like this, that you could never kickflip.
Yeah, it can't be done.
And now we have Christopher Hyatt.
Yeah, or Jason Lee, dude.
Right.
Yeah, right.
We had Jason Lee, and then now we got Christopher Hyatt, and who does he ride for?
Yeah, I don't even know.
He rides for Powell.
Hilarious.
He rides for Powell. He's from Evansville, Indiana. I skated with him when he was just a tiny little kid.
That's really cool. Dude.
Yeah. I went over there a few times, and he was there at the skate comp or whatever.
Yeah.
And absolutely.
Yeah, so sick.
And I always worry when I meet a kid like that because I'm afraid they won't become their own person. And he did.
That's sick.
He did become his own person. He's kind of killing it at being his own guy. And I am super stoked on. He kind of had to break out of the classic because he was a competition winner.
Yeah. And
that's a tough row to hoe.
Right.
And it'll put you in these high pressure situations. And he went and took his super creative, nervous little person and stuck with flat shaped boards. He skates Powell reissues, which I don't think they're domestic. And he rips on them every single trick.
Right.
And there's not only that, there's another YouTube guy out there who I've seen on some Dan Corrigan stuff. And he rides flat boards and crushes.
So sick.
Just
so sick.
Crushes.
So sick.
You know, and all the whole time I was kick flipping old school boards when I was in 1990. Hang on.
Go ahead.
95.
You was born.
I was not off from skateboarding for 2 full years.
You were not.
I don't know. I because I had an old. Nobody wanted it.
Yeah.
Because everything was a 7-inch wide popsicle.
Yeah.
And they gave me a whole setup with 169s, full 9-10-inch wide board, a lot like the Zeppelin sitting right up there.
For like $60.
And no, for free.
Well,
they gave it to me. So those were garbage.
They were like, take this.
You couldn't even find those trucks.
I forget that you lived through the days where like 775 was like the deck.
Yeah.
Those were dark days, dude.
7-inch boards. 725, 75, 775.
That's so dark.
And then 8-inch decks were huge, and we had one guy who ordered up 8.25, and his decks were hanging way out over his wheels.
Yeah, like 129.
And he was on like 129s or 139s.
Yeah.
And
do you hate movement? Do you hate yourself?
Yeah.
What did your dad do to you?
Skateboarding changed. Well, it was that's blessable. I mean the introduction of the super tech stuff was there's something there for everyone.
I mean, hey, if that's your thing, that's great. But dude,
But don't ask me to stand in a line to try and impress some girl who's just going to dump me for the next guy. I was already married by the time all of you were born.
I know.
I've been married for 31 years.
And even if you like flat ground, do the wheels have to be 40 millimeter? I mean,
that's what got the tail. That's what got the tail low enough for a quick pop. All these guys,
I'm so mad about
all
it.
These guys are talking about riser pads or no riser pads. Put
Yeah.
a tail guard on your board, and you just lowered your board. You just decreased the distance between the tail and the ground. You stiffened your board. You lowered your board. You made your board more durable. And there's all of this garbage, like pseudoscience, going on, and someone should be just mocking it. It should be mocked, utterly ridiculed, but people don't. They drink it up like it. They feel like they know something.
Or something.
But it's making you even dumber. God bless you, kids.
It's brutal.
It's really brutal to sit down and go, wait a second, how does an ollie work?
Right.
I like a better tail. I don't like a flat tail. I don't like a super steep tail, but I don't like a flat tail.
Right.
I like a tail that's got some,
some
meat on her bones,
Right.
But if I put a tail guard, even a 1/4 inch tail guard, I reduce the distance it has to go before I get a pop.
Yeah.
And now, and there's more going on there. And if you're interested in it, I don't know. Go watch a TED Talk.
It's fine. Go watch a TED Talk.
It's the problem with putting a tail guard on your board is going to make your deck last forever.
Right. And then you're not a real skateboarder.
And I want to tell you that it is well known in the industry among many people, and it is well noised about, that the heads of the industry really, really discourage durability in skateboard manufacturing. It's openly discouraged behind closed doors. It is openly discouraged. You can't have boards that last too long, was said to me by people I love and respect in life, but in business, pure shills, just getting what they could have for themselves.
Right.
Versus me, I wanted to get what I could have for myself, but I wanted to do it in a way that actually served value to the skateboarder, and that's what Sam and Casper at Life are doing today. And I just felt like it was needed to happen, that I get out of that end of the industry and into this end where we talk about these things. And even now I despair that our listeners will, it's not that they can't grasp it, it's that they glaze over and almost seem proud of themselves for neglecting these things.
For being apathetic.
Apathy seems to be a family value. I think it's time that I tear this family apart.
You're tearing this family apart, Lou.
Tear it apart.
I've been pondering, and we've talked about this before in previous episodes, but I'm like, just sitting here thinking, I'm like, man, you would have to have so much character, so much integrity. You'd have to be so sharp and so quick on your feet to actually run a successful skate brand that makes profit and has the integrity to back their product. We've spoken privately about.
I think it exists. It's Jerry Madrid.
Yeah, perhaps.
You don't know who he is.
Yeah.
Been around for absolutely forever. Pressing really, really good wood. In a small workshop. In highly watched batches. And the key is, instead of taking $10 million right now, take $2 million. The $2 million instead of $10 million argument finds zero traction in American business. But you take $2 million of profit over 10 years versus $10 million of profit today, and your core is gone. You're just a husk. 20 years later, you've spent your 10 million when you could have made 20 more. And these are not huge numbers of millions, though. Anyone who gets involved in skateboarding is going to they're going to have to begin to acknowledge craft. Truck companies are going to have to bring it back home. Trucks are going to cost $125 a set. And they're going to have to be good. They'll have to be accountable for quality. I'm willing to spend top dollar for trucks. I've bought a $110 set of trucks before. And called the company up and said, these are a couple of things you could do to make this better.
Yeah. What
They
were
were
those things called again? I can't remember.
surf rods.
Surf rods. I remember now.
Yes,
Yeah, surf
they
rods.
cost me my whole Father's Day session.
Yes.
They did, because those guys didn't have the wherewithal to put a drop of blue Loctite on their product.
Yes, come on,
It
man.
was absolutely
insane.
It was insane that they couldn't put a drop of blue Loctite on the assembly of their product.
Right. Yeah.
Unbelievable. Blue Loctite is so mild. They could have used purple, which is even less.
Right.
Nope.
It would have been fine.
Nope, it's too. And I suggested it to them, and they did not want to talk to me anymore.
Yeah, they were like, "No, I'm good, bro." Thanks,
they wanted to hear from me until they heard from me.
Right.
Oh, let us know what you think. Well, this is what I think. I didn't call anyone a name.
Right.
I didn't raise my voice to anyone. I was, and it's like, nope. People just live to neglect. I do not have a high opinion of the way that Surf Rods handled my feedback.
Absolutely.
I do not.
Right.
If that's the way a new truck company is going to behave toward people who are beta testing their trucks,
right,
then kick rocks.
Yeah, 100%.
And if I've got them wrong and I misjudge their intentions, then all they need to do is accuse me of that publicly and defame me on some made-up thing, and they'll just fit right in with the rest of them.
Thumbs up. It's a tale as old as time. We've talked privately about the fact that if, in 10 years, if the podcast blows up and we have some sort of blah, blah, if we were to keep our integrity, keep our character.
Media moguls.
Right, media moguls. What would end up happening inadvertently through our process is that we would have to be an agent of culture change. Like the new LA would be Cincinnati, Ohio. That's the only way that it could truly be successful, because we've been sold a bill of goods for so long, and people are so used to shit decks and shit quality
and complete unquestioning brand loyalty.
Yeah, completely, totally.
When I look at
unquestionable,
like the career of Mike Valley,
yeah,
I mean, there's like, in order for me to be a Mike V fan, I have to cover my eyes and cover my ears, and get used to the taste.
Oh, that's so brutal.
Oh, I didn't mean that to be a nasty thing.
No,
I didn't. It's like more the shit sandwich.
Right. It's a shit sandwich.
And I really like, I could like Mike if I knew him as a person, or not, or maybe I wouldn't enjoy my time with Mike.
Right.
I love Mike in that larger metaphysical sense of he is one who the Savior died for, as well as for me.
Yeah.
This ain't that.
Right.
That's, everyone thinks this stuff we're discussing is everything.
Right.
But it's not. Your legacy and your business and all these things ought to be fair game. Once you're a public person, it ought to be fair game for public discussion.
Absolutely.
And I am fair game for just that. And there's spoof accounts now and then that pop up and have, like, take derp moments of me and things like that. And I always enjoy those things.
Dude, the next time that happens, I shit you not, I will print every single one of those out. We will make t-shirts.
I like
we'll
it.
Just wear them.
I had someone, they grabbed a bunch of screen grabs of it because I was blocked from it, so I would never know it was happening.
Of course.
And I thought, the first thing I thought was, that's hilarious.
It's hilarious.
I'm a clown. That's funny.
Right, of course.
The second thing I thought was, I wish they wouldn't block me. I want to see.
Yeah, right. Come on, man. Yeah.
What's the fun in being infamous? What's the fun of being infamous if you don't get to see what's going on?
Yeah, you can't
But I think I know why they blocked me. I think. Well, I don't know if they were. I don't know if they were thinking on the level that they blocked me so I wouldn't enjoy it.
Yeah.
And springboard a bunch of laughter off of it.
Right.
Maybe they didn't want me to find out and laugh about it and like that. But also, I have this funny history of when people make fun of me or they defame me or like that, I just stay on the message.
Yeah, absolutely.
It happened on our Instagram.
Oh, yeah. I forgot about that. Yeah.
And I tried to delete my spicy comment back because it panged my conscience that I was, kind of mean. But all of my good counselors told me, no, that was spot on. I don't know.
I mean, it was pretty good.
To this day, all I want is good for that person.
Yeah.
But they came out and accused me of bullying children in this podcast.
Yeah.
They accused me of bullying children.
You're such a bully, dude.
And So I just was like, yeah, there's Indiana Core Skateboarding coming out and displaying its listening comprehension skills.
Yeah,
you know,
which really wasn't that spicy. I mean, come on, man.
It's not. I didn't
it's
call
like
his
almost ad copy.
I didn't call his mom a name or anything.
Yeah.
But the problem is that he put his head up above the trench.
Yeah.
And maybe someone might think his head got taken off.
Well.
And
then
then someone says, "Well, you'll have that,
right?
Wear your helmet."
Yeah, I guess.
I don't know.
Yeah.
But the thing is that, it's not like those are honest conversations that are actually going to get somewhere. But that would be cool.
I know.
But people then will say like, conversations aren't core.
There's a
shut up and skate.
There's like a part of me that wishes skateboarding was a little bit more geared into like a more intellectual sense, just so that the arguments and like shit talking that happens could have a little bit more substance. You know what I mean? Like, there's a movie where it's like the story of Abraham Lincoln or something, played by Daniel Day-Lewis, and there's like scenes where the people in Congress are like arguing with one another, and the way that they insult each other is like
so good,
just beautiful.
You know
what I mean?
They used to write. They used to have these editorial pages where one of the governor would be writing responses back to the governor would be writing responses to
like
a council member, and
the
the council member was eyeing up to be governor in a term or two, and was sniping over issues, and then the governor would get in the issues and like between Hamilton and John. Oh, forget it. I can't remember. The Federalist Papers were that. Now I said Federalist Papers. Thomas Paine was not one of them. But Thomas Paine wrote some things.
Yeah.
You know.
Dude, what's that guy's name? Oh, that's going to bother me. Keep talking. I'm gonna look it up. That's gonna
it was
bother
John,
me.
what's his name? Adams.
Adam. What?
Wasn't it John Adams?
No.
Was it the one who got killed by Aaron Burr?
I don't know.
That wasn't John Adams. Aaron Burr.
The Federalist Papers was John Jay, James Madison, and Alexander Hamilton.
Hamilton got killed by Burr.
Okay.
It was Hamilton and
John Jay and James Madison.
John Jay. I went to John Jay Senior High School. Yep.
That's sick.
John Jay's house was like 15 minutes from my house.
But they used to insult each other in such a way that it's like, it's good. Beautiful to read. Like, just to hear it is like just pleasurable. You know, it's like listening to a Shakespeare play, you know? Yeah. I wish there was a little bit more of that in skateboarding, because we could really have some good back and forth, you know?
We almost had it.
Fuck you, I'll kill you.
Gary Rogers was doing it in the early 2000s with Metro Skateboarding out of Chicago, I want to say.
That seems legit.
Metro was like out of Chicago or somewhere in the Midwest. And Thrasher bought it.
Of course. And, which is the best way to shut it down.
I have a very low opinion of Gary Rogers as a journalist.
Yeah.
That's in it. What?
But I don't think he was really after journalism necessarily.
No, dude, you didn't.
Really?
Did you see it?
What?
Early Metro Skateboarding skate line was like paparazzi journalism.
Okay.
Which is a thing, and because we have celebrities, it's important that there be journalism about the celebrities, because they do influence culture.
Right.
You know what's downstream from culture? Market and politics.
True.
And that changes the world.
Yeah.
Oh man.
Gosh.
I've now invoked the Federalist Papers. We have named 4 or 5 founding fathers, and I have now said that downstream from culture lie market and politics, which, by the way, they're the same thing in this country.
Yeah, crazy.
Because our politics is owned by corporate market.
Huh.
It's bad.
It's a tale as old as time. Brought to you by Huckstall. Dude, let's just take an ad break so everybody can have a break.
I thought about bringing some beard balm in, because I've been working. I blew through my deodorant. How's it going over there?
It's fine, dude.
Thanks, dude. Yeah.
You always do that, and I always never mind. I don't even smell it.
That's good. Do I always smell like an onion?
I hope so. I don't know. I don't even notice.
I think I might not stink.
I don't think so.
But
clean.
Whatever. It's taken all those martial arts. When I was a kid, I sweated.
Yeah, I just sweated all out.
I sweated from 12 to 18 years old, like 4 days a week for hours.
Probably helps.
And I never had like a need for deodorant until probably 10 years ago.
And you don't eat a lot of sugar. which
do not.
Probably really helps. There's no fermentation happening inside your body.
What?
I don't know.
That'd
I'm
be
wondering.
so
Yeah,
cool.
it probably is.
I've got pure greases.
Yes, dude. I'm trying to think. Has there been like a good like ad rivalry in skateboarding
No.
where you could just enjoy it, go the back and
No,
forth?
you know what? Independent trucks came out and said, "F the rest, ride the best."
Is that like as
well,
good
but
as it
nobody
gets?
answered them.
Yeah, come on,
Nobody
man.
answered
the
them.
gauntlet was thrown down.
But the
we
thing
couldn't
is,
get anything good.
Indy threw down the gauntlet, but they literally kicked the living crap out of anyone who stepped to them at the SF level. That's what skateboarding is. And the other thing is, Indy would have you written out of the mag. You're written out of the mag.
Most petty, immature
Yeah,
bullshit.
Danny
We could have some good
Gonzalez.
stuff, dude.
Danny Gonzalez was one of the best skaters ever,
Yeah,
and he was written out of the mag
yeah.
over an industry legacy beef. I believe it's Danny Gonzalez. It might have been someone else. I'm sorry.
Yeah,
I'm not
fine.
sorry at all.
It's
I have
not
two things to
sorry.
say. Not sorry. Not sorry.
Yeah, right.
But these people just got disappeared because the power of the pen
yeah,
is all run by this same corporate media. The real story of skateboarding is not the published story we have. I was listening to Stacy Peralta this in the same interview from the last podcast.
yeah.
And he said for the first time it got said that I've heard in all these years. He finally said, "No, we would go to the school banks and we would see wheel marks from other people, and we had no idea who they were."
So sick.
And he's doing it in a
Yay.
Stacy Peralta voice.
Right, yeah, which is enjoyable.
And the thing is, like, I know a guy who was ground zero at the same time as he was in he and his brother were in some of the same footage that was shot for the Dogtown Z Boys documentary, and it hit the cutting room floor because they were Navy squid kids.
Of course.
So those were squids.
Yeah.
And his brother was better than, this is what he said to me.
Yeah.
He told me that his brother was was over the light before Tony Alva.
Hilarious.
And was killing it, but way better than Tony Alva. Those guys were learning how after his brother was already killing it in those pools.
Right.
But they were like Detroit, Michigan kids from a military base, and none of that makes it into the documentary. Those people are just cut, and and we think that the story of skateboarding is the story of just the Dogtown guys.
Yeah.
Well, the Dogtown story is awesome. It is fun for me to watch. I enjoy it, but it's sort of like, did you see the Von Dutch documentary on Netflix or Hulu?
No.
Oh, you've got to watch it. It's definitely skateboarding adjacent. Yeah. And it's the same type of thing.
Sure.
And
is this like Toss Pappas having the 900 stolen?
Sure, it's like that. But when Indy threw down the gauntlet and said we're the best, Tracker went to nylon base plates and tried to do some stupid stuff.
Right. And it's because of what you were talking about. Like, there's no honor in this game. It's like if you say something, if we say that we're the best, and you say, no, you're not, we will fucking kill you.
But if they say we're the best, and I come out and I say, hey, kids, watch out for people who say they're the best. Yeah. There's your ad line. Right. The ad line is,
oh, that would be beautiful, dude.
No, they're not the best, we're the best. The ad line is, hey, kids, watch out for people who say they're the best. Yeah. Usually don't have your best intentions in line.
Yes, dude.
Don't listen to big money trucks when they come at you with intimidation and goon style thug squad bullcrap. Right. These guys might be throwing around free product and like that. Right. But we're there for you. Yes. Our trucks are made at this place by these people. Right. And we're never going to change because the only thing that's going to change is us getting even better. Yeah. You know, and you get off of, you make the story of your advertisement the story of your own development. Yes. And then you say, if you write in with some ideas for our trucks, we'll send you a free sticker pack. So sick. We're going to have a special thing here and a special thing there. Right. And then if they go even harder, it's like, well, you kids, you may have heard that they're starting to beat up our riders at the events. You know why that is? Is we stand between you and them. We stand between them and you. Dude. They're the same guys that are going to push you around and make make fun of you for not wearing the right brand of shoe or this or that. Now you get
Right.
someone who knows how to advertise in there,
Yeah.
and they can actually have. They could have a technically inferior truck. Like Tracker was inferior,
Right.
but you know what? It really wasn't that much worse than the early indies.
Right.
And also, Tracker needed to get on its game and go, okay, turning is probably going to be important.
It's probably going to be
Probably
important,
turning
yeah,
is going to be important.
Yeah.
And they needed to be humble and do their work
Right.
on their turning.
Right.
It's just, you've got a base plate and a kingpin, and then when you angle it more, it does more turning.
Yeah,
And you
come on.
straight up, it does more turning, and down here is more stability.
Yeah.
And, you know, like this. But you know what? Everyone was fine with it. Nobody had the wherewithal. It was all a bunch of skateboarders, freaking Lord of the Flies.
Dude.
I get it.
Yeah.
I'm not mad.
Yeah.
It was what it was.
Right.
But what probably will be
Yeah.
is I'm excited about the existence of slappy trucks, and I couldn't help but notice that Independent has just released its Stage 4 revival.
Ah.
Well, that's because people want to turn.
Yeah.
They've wanted to turn. There have
Right.
been a whole bunch of us that wanted to turn the whole time. And now Independent has lost the skate shop leaning over the counter saying, oh, you don't want that.
Right.
You want this.
Yeah.
Oh, you want to be a kook, you know? And they were depending on skate shops to do exactly what they'd been doing in their advertising. It's so funny because, like, I got death threats over saying, come kook with us.
Yeah,
when
right.
they called us kooks, you know, we had a, you know, and not just death threats, but surrounded and assaulted.
Yes.
You know, I was never slapped.
Right.
God
I was
bless
never
you.
slapped.
God bless you. There's this urban legend that I got slapped, and that's when I learned to shut up.
There it is. Yes.
Well, you can see how well that worked.
Yeah, right. Look at you shutting up. I love it when you shut up. Dude. You know, I'm like, would be totally willing, like, if Tracker had come out and been like, yo, they might be the best, but we're better, or had done some really smart marketing campaign and had been kind of for the underdog, even if their trucks were up to 20% worse than Indies, I would have rode Tracker. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, I totally would have done it. Like, they could have had it all, man. They literally could have had it all. Like, I have high hopes that maybe one day, like, Dumb Data or Thrash Talk or somebody will pick apart one of our videos and talk about how inconsistent and stupid we are. Then we can, like, get together and have dinner with them.
There
and,
you
like,
go.
we could buy them dinner and we could just be like, yeah, let's do more of this.
Could
dude.
you
Let's do
imagine
more
if
of this.
Gifted Hater got a hold of us?
Yeah, dude, and we go and shred together and we just enjoy each other's company and we can just, like, that's sick. That's robust. You know what I mean?
That would be very interesting.
Yes.
I think if I were to steel man an argument against me,
Go ahead.
it would start with that he's not a real skateboarder.
Yes.
That's what they started with, and I
right.
think that was probably their best
Yeah,
shot.
right.
Don't listen to his thinking and ideas,
Right.
Because he's not a real skateboarder. But the thing is, when you have someone starting like that with you, they're saying don't listen to ideas,
Right.
because that person, that's called an ad hominem attack,
Yeah.
and it's actually categorized as a logical fallacy.
Indeed.
If you're going to combat the speech and ideas of a person, you're going to open with an ad hominem attack.
Yeah.
A smart listener, and you know, I just don't think we're that sharp.
Sure.
A smart listener would immediately be on their guard
Yeah.
against the persuasion
Yeah.
that is being attempted.
Right.
So that's probably the first argument they'd make.
Sure.
And then what would the next one be? Because the next one in my career was a terrible accusation that I had harmed the most vulnerable people in a way
Oh, yeah.
that was absolutely. I went in my house and was in a fetal position for 2 weeks, not only metaphorically,
Right.
when that happened. And it was Bill Danforth who grabbed me by the shoulder and said, you need to take them to Johnny Law.
Dang.
And when Bill Danforth tells you to take somebody to Johnny Law over
Yeah.
something,
Right.
you know that's weird.
Right,
You know,
yeah,
you know that
something
you're in a
going on.
rare circumstance.
Yes. Yeah.
But it
yeah,
took
yeah.
me a month before Bill Danforth just grabbed a hold of me and said, you need to take that to court.
Yeah.
And I did. And,
Yeah.
because threatening to murder me. And the third thing, which came with the second thing, was threatening to murder me. So I think the best way to try to stop the reasoning that we're putting out there
Yeah.
would be to ridicule my appearance
Yeah, which is so low.
But
it's
it's
so base.
It's right there.
Dude, is there nobody out there who can give us some real critique that has any teeth at all? You know what I mean? I'm like,
the latest we've got
man.
is that we're bullying children.
Oh yeah, I forgot. Or that we can't kickflip. Yes.
Which is ironic because on my Facebook I was kickflipping.
You did.
I was kickflipping.
Yeah,
it was only a few years ago, and I don't even remember it because
Yeah.
it was unpleasant enough as a memory. Well, friends, we're at 88 minutes.
Yes.
Dear listeners, dear watchers, we are thankful that you joined us for a time together.
100%.
And for what it's worth.
For what it's worth, baby.
Yeah. So thanks for tuning into the CapmLew podcast for another, a struggle session.
Yes, engaging.
You know what? You know how we failed? Not even one time did we mention.
Don't do it.
Yes.
Please.
The Sigma male grind set.
Dude, the Sigma male grind set. We're on our skate Sigma male grind set.
Well, tune in next time for some more Sigma male grind set here on the CapmLew show. We're going to turn off the podcast now. We'll be with Facebook for another couple minutes. Catch us on YouTube, catch us on Apple, catch us on Spotify.
Yes.
Please donate.
Yes. Yes. Beautiful.
Those were the last words.
Please donate.
Those were the last words.
Pleading, yes.
I'm not even ashamed.
No.
You remember there was this other thing they used to say, and this worked on everyone.
Yeah.
He's just in it for the money.
There it is.
There it was. That was all they would have to say.
Yeah.
That was all they had to say was he's just in it for the money.
Because nobody else was.
And one guy made up a story that I had embezzled from a small brand. A skate park company I worked with for a minute.
Yeah.
That I had embezzled $50,000. And the owner of that company never stood up for me and clarified that. He allowed that to hang in the air and be spread because his drinking buddies wanted to slander me as having... And that's how he can start Fickle Boards. I'm like, man,
you guys are idiots.
Oh my gosh. It took a family loan for me to buy the first pallet of wood and the first 55 gallon of glue for Fickle Boards. And the rest of that journey was I never held in my hands more than $1,000 or $2,000 at a time before I had to spend it all on a new tool or a new process or more, and that went on for 12 years. I did Fickle I did it from 2008 to 2019, so that's only 11 years. So I spent a solid decade making a press and making boards.
Yeah.
From 2009 until late 2010, I was building my workshop and trying to figure it out from what for me was scratch. It was discovery, not invention.
Yeah.
Not original, not just discovery, not invention.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, you did carve your first mold out of plaster, right?
I did.
That's sick. I mean, the fact that you did that is incredible. I would never be able to do that. That's not my gifting at all. That would be really, really, really almost impossible.
One of the snags I hit when I was trying to encourage and equip other people, I would do tutorial Facebook videos on how to make a mold.
Yeah.
And I had to swallow a bitter pill, which was that this is not going to work for just everyone.
Yeah.
And I had to open my mind up to people buying molds that were made by someone else.
Yeah.
And now there's an entire skateboard geometry group that Jared Nelson runs.
That's honestly really cool.
And he spawned up. I told him, I said, look, we can't have this in the makers movement because the makers movement doesn't have it's focused on getting you going from... I really didn't like that people would buy a page blank.
Okay.
And he uses a trifold concave, it's a good, if it winds up being a skateboard,
it's fine.
it's good.
Yeah.
All right.
Right. Yeah.
But it's not a great concave, you
Sure.
know. If I were to cast that, I wouldn't make a concrete cast of that.
Yeah.
And also the problem with casting on a full size uncut, they're warped.
I know.
They're all warped.
I know.
Every skateboard has some warp in it.
Yeah.
And standing on it equalizes it. Even your toe heel warps your board.
Literally.
And the real story about warping is 5 podcasts worth of
Oh my
discussion.
gosh. Yeah, dude.
And so I didn't like casting that way. I made like 8 molds one time off of uncut casting from my mold process. And I think that like 4 of the 8 molds, because they were tops and bottoms that I then flipped and cast, 4 of them were not usable, which means that of the 4 initial uncuts, 2 of them had enough warp in the relax that you just wouldn't want to press fresh like that.
I honestly have not even thought about that for people, because that's what people do. They buy a blank and then they press they create a mold off it. But if it's crap,
but
like,
what I was trying to get people to do is, it's fine, buy a blank, but don't cast it in concrete, cast it in plaster.
Yeah.
And learn to use measuring devices and learn to build a level spot. Take a bench that's not level.
Yeah.
Put a board on it.
Yeah.
And knock in some shims until that board is level. Then drop screws through the shims.
Yeah.
Now you have a level surface. Like, this is the kind of stuff.
Yeah.
But I just didn't find a lot of people. So I quit trying to harp on original molds.
Sure.
I didn't want that to be a barrier of entry in the makers movement.
Yeah.
But once I had put my whole process out there, I kind of wanted to see what would happen. And Johnny Manak featured on Braille. He took it and ran with it and is doing a great job. I wish that 1,000 more people would do it.
Absolutely.
Little warning, a little shot over the bow in the makers movement. Some of you guys need to definitely tighten up the screws on your game, because I've been hearing some complaints about quality among the makers, and I knew it would come to that. That's a sign that we're growing.
Yeah.
But I don't do a lot with the makers movement right now, because we're doing this.
Yes.
And everything we do has to be stolen away from our families, because freaking skateboarding doesn't have the ability to market and create business. So we are definitely kind of hemmed in.
We are.
We don't want to be YouTube stars.
Yeah.
We'd like to offer intellectual value to a community.
Yeah.
We don't. We might have to start doing a paywall, not on the whole podcast.
Yeah, but on my parts.
But we might do half-hour podcasts.
And then if you want to hear the rest.
If you want to hear the rest, we'd like to invite you. It's not dark, because there's value.
No, there's
There's value in what we're offering.
Yeah, and it's smart to make people pay for that value.
And we've put time. And,
it is true.
I've put years of my life into the preparation of these ideas. You've put years of your life into the preparation of your ideas. And so offering a half an hour for free, and then the other 60 minutes for $5 a month.
Yeah, something really
Come on.
Okay, that's palatable for me.
That's not even $5 a month.
40 cents a podcast or something. Yeah,
and then you have to figure out ways to reward the people who treat you so well as to do that. You figure out a way to, I'd love to do meetups.
I know.
And but I don't see any way for us to get back out there on the road and be doing this kind of thing in a meaningful way if we don't take seriously the responsibility to monetize it.
100%. I agree. Wow. I agree with you.
Yeah, but that's probably a next year thing.
Yeah, I agree.
We're starting this thing officially in April.
Okay, got
15th.
It. April 15th.
We could bump it up a month, because the Ides of March is a lucky day. Or
June 21st.
No, the 5th. But then, by then we've been going way too long. What did we do? Did we start doing podcasts in October?
Probably.
Feels like we started doing
podcasts.
Grungy.
That was fine. It was beautiful.
Yeah, but I think that maybe we'll release the new format in April.
We can pull it together.
Mid-April, if we set up probably something like a Subscribe Star or a Patreon.
Yeah, that would really change our game. We'd have to figure it out. Yeah, it can be figured out. We got to the moon allegedly, so tale as old as time.
Well, thanks for being with us, our Facebook friends. We hope that you enjoy the extra 5 minutes that we put on the end of here.
Yes.
For what it's worth. CapmLew.
Laters.